Check, check, check. This is the Sales Babble podcast. This is the Sales Babble podcast. Hello, Sales Babblers. This is Pat Homers. Looks like we're going to be starting this webinar in about 3 minutes. Why don't we fire up the music? Boom, 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 boom. How about that? This is Sales Babble. Sales Babble webinar. All right, folks. I'm slowly getting everything set up here. Everything is looking hunky-dory. Oh yeah, this stuff's looking good. Hello, Lambert. I see that you just logged in the chat wing. Boom, 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 boom. All right. It looks like we're just about time to start this podcast. Oh, this is not a podcast. This is a webinar. Welcome, everybody, to Sales Babble. This is Pat Helmers, and I am from the Sales Babble podcast, but that's not what we're doing today. Today, we're giving a special presentation on how to use free social media to replace cold calling. And I really appreciate everybody signing up today and showing up. And that is really, really great. Now, there's some things I want to chat about here before we get started. For those of you on computers, PCs, Macs, that kind of thing, you'll see the chat box below the video, below the PowerPoint that I'm showing. And if you want to ask me questions, you are welcome to do that right there. I see people coming in here, Lambert and Rob, and I really appreciate that. For those of you on mobile devices, it's going to be it's not going to be as easy for you to do that. So I apologize that. I was doing a blab yesterday. I had a number of people listening in on the blab on their phones in their cars while driving. I'm like, oh my goodness, how dangerous. So for you mobile people, please be careful if that is indeed the case for you. As I said, today's webinar is called How to Use Free Social Media to Replace Cold Calling. This is a talk that I've been giving the last few days and over the last maybe 5-6 weeks, and it's really been really well acclaimed. And a lot of people really found a lot of value in that. So I'm excited to share it here with the Sales Babble audience. We're only 2 minutes after the hour, and I want to really get on this. So let me tell you what the action plan is here for today. I'm going to give you I'm going to share this presentation on using social media. I'm also going to share some actionable advice, things that you can actually go work on. Like right now, there's going to be an offer at the end of this presentation, and there will be a spot for open questions. I expect this to take 45 to 60 minutes. Kind of depends on how many questions I get. But I'll get you out of here at the end of the hour. And if I go over, you're welcome to leave. Right? You are dismissed. What is the goal? The goal today with this presentation is at the end, you will take action. by using the things that we've learned here and earn new clients. Oh, listen, that bass just doesn't want to stop, does it? Yeah, we'll turn him off. So with that said, let's get started with the presentation. Hi, Sue. I bumped into this great quote here by JB Domenici from, she's the vice president of marketing for Salesforce.com. And she said that she has found that the lines between sales, service, and marketing are completely blurring. What used to be a clear distinction is no longer there. In fact, she says, quote, 62% of the sales cycle happens before a sales rep is involved. And that's a big change. Why is that? It's the internet, right? People can now go online and read all about something before they ever pick up the phone and call a sales professional. That wasn't the case 20 years ago. Back in the day, the only people who had the spec and all the details behind a product or a service was the salesperson, and you had to call them up in order to learn about that. That's not the case anymore. So people are not afraid to go online and learn about things. But how that works has changed. And what I would like to do is kind of focus on, as for an example, how millennials are buying things these days. And this is coming across for all their generations. First off, they're not as compelled by advertising because they're just being inundated by that. And I'll show you an example in a moment. They aren't afraid, though, to consult blogs and friends before purchasing because that kind of connection, that kind of value really matters to them. Interesting study that I saw showed that millennials prefer shopping in the mall over everybody else who's oftentimes prefer shopping online because authenticity trumps content. They want that personal connection. Brand loyalty means a lot to them. It's a relationship. They want the in-person experience. And this comes from Elite Daily, the consumer study that they did just this year in 2015. Here's a good example of this kind of stuff that you see all the time on the internet, this clickbait stuff that you're like, I'm not really sure who gets motivated by this, but they click on this, and it's just not that. Picture doing something like this. If we are if we're giving if we're selling IT services and things like that. CFOs hate her. She's 51. She looks 25. That's actually an IBM 370 behind her. Local IT guy exposes shocking anti-aging secret. This kind of stuff, this kind of is not really going to work in the future. Raju Vagesna, he's a chief evangelist of Zoho. He says that, quote, people desire in-person connection. Just like we saw the automation in telephony, press 1 for sales, 2 for support, 3 to dial by name. They really want to see a real human being in there. And with that said, I have completely bobbled this up to a certain degree because you have not seen me. You've not seen me speak today. And here I am today. I've got my lucky tie on. I've got it's a lovely day. I forgot to mention that it's a balmy 56 degrees outside here in Illinois for those of you who are far away. And I am here in the Sales Babble audience, and you can see my Sales Babble mic and things like this that you've probably seen in the past. You see online. People want this in-person experience, and I'm really hoping that's getting across to you. So, with that said, let's get back to the slides, and we will share that. Again, Raju Vagesna said that there's an automation burnout going. Let me layer this up even deeper here. Dan Pink, who you probably heard me speak about, he was the author of To Sell as Humans. He said, quote, the ability to take another perspective has become one of the keys to both sales and non-sales selling. And the social science research on perspective taking, taking the point of view of like the buyer versus you, that yields some important lessons for all of us. That is critical for great sales. Let me give you an example. there was a famous master salesperson who was known to be able to sell anything, sold milking machines. That's what that device is there. And he was out in the Iowa farms, and he was talking to a farmer, and he explained how awesome this machine was to such a great degree that the farmer was motivated to buy 2 of these milking machines. Now, get this. Now, I want to make sure about this. The farmer only had 1 cow. But he was so persuaded by that sales guy that he bought 2 of these machines. Now, he had money to buy 1, but he didn't have money to buy 2. So he struck a deal with the sales guy, and he said, "What if you take my 1 cow as a down payment?" And the sales guy says, "Sounds great." So he left 2 milking machines, took the 1 cow, and the sales guy was left. Wow, isn't he awesome as a salesperson? Well, not really. So what's the likelihood of that farmer ever coming back and buying something else from this guy? Because now he no longer has a cow to milk. This sales professional is never going to get a repeat sale from this guy, or is he going to get a great reference? Let's take a different point of view. A lady walks into a store, and she goes to the sales lady, and she points to the window. She says, "You see that dress in the window? I would like to try on that dress in the window." And the sales lady goes, "Sure, you can do that. But ma'am, I think you might be more comfortable trying it on in the changing room in the back." This lady is actually looking out for her customer. That's what we need to do as great salespeople. Seth Godin, the marketing genius, says, quote, "Permission marketing turns strangers into friends and friends into loyal customers. It's just not about entertainment. It's about education. Permission marketing is curriculum marketing." So if we were to, as sales professionals, were to get permission from prospective buyers to listen to us and to be a classroom, and we teach them, that's just a curriculum to them, they're going to be much more likely to listen, much more likely to be persuaded, and much more likely to go from prospective clients to paying customers. This is what I call awake selling. Yeah, people don't want to be sold. That's pretty clear. That's what this has all been about. But people do want to buy because they have problems and they have desires that they want fulfilledly met. And secretly, this is something I think a lot of salespeople don't really get, is that secretly they're hoping you have what they want. Now, they may have their arms closed, and they may be giving you a look like, I'm not very open to this, but secretly inside, they're really hoping that, thank goodness, maybe Pat's got what I want, right? So how do we do this? We do it with the attitude with two things. How can I help? And how can I add value? One day, a guy comes home, and on the refrigerator is a Post-it note, and the note says, "It's not working." It also says, "I can't take it anymore." And then lastly, it says, "I'm going to stay with my sister." It was in his wife's handwriting. So the guy stretches his head and he goes, opens up the refrigerator, the light comes on, reaches his hand in, the refrigerator's cold. Picks up a beer, opens it, and he drinks it, and the beer is cold. And he scratches his head and goes, "I just don't know what she's talking about. It seems to be working for me." Way too many salespeople are this dim-witted and are not truly listening to what the buyer, what the prospective client is really telling them. And that's what we want to fix here today. So today's topic is about how sales professionals can use marketing methods, things that they commonly have not done in the past, to nurture and turn leads into qualified prospects. And I'm going to show you a method, a step-by-step method, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 steps that you can walk through, and create and obtain new prospective client. Actually get an appointment with them, which is one of the hardest things that people struggle with in sales. And I'm ready to tell you that, but not quite yet. Let me tell you a little bit about me, why you should listen to me. and what I'm about. Back in the day, many years ago, this is me. I was a Bell Lab engineer. I actually worked, which eventually became Lucent Technologies, and I did programming and stuff like that. Actually got a couple patents in technology. Was a manager, managed an education group and technology transformation and all that kind of stuff. Eventually moved into sales by working for a startup company called Common Goal, and sold a information management system called Teacher Ease. And I didn't know anything about sales when I started. I eventually got kind of good at it. In fact, I had more leads that I could deal with, and eventually had to hiring people, and I became the vice president of sales. And we sold millions and millions of dollars worth of that stuff. It was actually about 2 years ago. Right now, I started thinking about starting a podcast on sales, selling secrets for non-sales, and that's called Sales Babble, and some of you may have heard of it. And Sales Babble goes out every week, and we've had tens of thousands of downloads, and that's been a really great experience. This year, I invented a selling system called Selling with Confidence. And what that system does is it allows you to be yourself, add value, and make sales. It teaches non-pushy sales. That if you can be yourself, you don't have to pretend to be somebody that you're not. And if you can add value to your clients, they will be happy to pay you, and you will make sales. Enough about me. Let's move on to the next. The world is connected by how I like to think of it as a set of parallel interconnecting networks. There's three networks specifically, three social media networks that I want to chat about specifically today. And how we approach people and get to know people in them is exactly the same for all of them. The strategy is the same for all of them. LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. Not all people are in these networks. There are some people who are, who may be contractors and they're never in front of the internet. Or I used to sell to superintendents, and none of them are on LinkedIn or whatnot. But for the most part, most people are somewhere in one of these networks. I'd like to walk through each one of them very, very, very briefly. LinkedIn currently has 380 million people in it. 97 million of them are active users. And these numbers are all up to date. Just got these about 6 weeks ago for 2015. So about a quarter of the people out there are logging into LinkedIn, and by active I meant within the last 30 days. The average income of a LinkedIn client is about $132,000, and that's a lot. That's an awful lot, and that's an awful lot, and people think of it as a very B2B focused kind of system, but it's not necessarily. The way people communicate is through the InMail tool. And what's interesting about that is if you send someone a message, once you connect with them, you can send them a message, they will read that. Unlike email that goes in the spam bucket, they'll actually respond to that. There are groups where you can connect with people, but slowly over time, a lot of them become pretty spammy, and they're just not as valuable as they used to be. Next is Facebook. This is the big daddy. There's about 1.5 billion people on this system. 1 billion of them are logging in with every month. People think of it as B2C focused, but again, there's 25 million business pages out there, and there's a number of groups that I'm a part of that are very business oriented, and they are really, really interactive. You really get to know people, you really get to connect with people. Very, very, very popular. Unlike LinkedIn, you can message anybody, connect with you can message anyone. You may not be able to connect with them and accept a connection, but you can deal with reach out to them. Next is the one that's in the middle, is Twitter. This is a system that I actually find a lot of enjoyment in. It's got almost 1 billion people in it. 1/3 of them are active users. Again, you can message anyone, and I know people who are in other kinds of industries who have found it very, very easy to connect with people. I myself personally, I've connected with a lot of people in sales and on the podcast. There's something about it that's much easier to reach out to them. And in fact, you may find that if a person's not in one network, if you go look in another network, they may have a LinkedIn account, but they hardly ever log in. But you go on Twitter, they're tweeting half a dozen times a day. So the conversations that exist are in your hashtags. So if someone puts a hashtag on there, that's how you can figure out what people are talking about within a common thing. Very, very easy to reach out to any one of them. So with that kind of foundation set of those 3 different social media networks, I would like to explain to you, I want to share, this is what this whole talk is all about. The fundamental strategy, the fundamental steps for building a campaign and getting an appointment on the telephone with somebody. First, you're going to need to set up your profile. I'll explain how that works. Next, you're going to pick a prospect, an idea, either a company that you want to connect with or maybe a specific person's name that you have. Next, you want to find where that person lives in social media. Fourth, you want to request to connect with them one-on-one. Then you want to give them something of free value. Then you want to ask for a chat, an opportunity just to chit chat with them. This is not a sales call or something like that or an appointment. And then you actually talk to them on the phone. This is the steps. Let's walk through these one by one. Next, first thing you want to do is you want to set up your profile. And this is something that I'm just amazed, and I'm picking up my own business card here. I got it in my hand here. How people fail to have the fundamental information that's on a business card in their social media, yet they want to do business there. How many times, if you went to a networking event and was shaking hands with people and meeting them, you wouldn't think twice of like sharing your business card with them, handing them your card, and they would hand your card back to you. What's on your business card? Well, your name, your title, the company that you work for, maybe the address of the company, your phone number, your Twitter handle, the website, your email address. These are all common things that people have on their business cards. But I am amazed by the number of people, supposed professional people, who don't have even this much information on their profile in their social media. I can understand that maybe in LinkedIn and Facebook or not, but if you're looking to find clients in Facebook, you need to have this in here, because picture the possibility that a customer says, "Hey, I want to buy from you," but they can't easily figure out who you are and how you are. I don't know how many times I've had this struggle with connecting with people that I have been connected to within social media. One other thing you need to have as a professional photograph, and that's me. Unfortunately, I'm not the most handsome person in the world. That probably keeps some people away, but I have to deal with what I have. So that's the first thing you want to do, is you want to set up your profile. Next, you want to find a prospect. You want to research who is the person that you might want to talk to. Let's say, for example, I was working with a sales manager the other day. He really wants to get his people to build a campaign to get, the CIO, the chief information officer in a company. So you go find that person, Google their name on there. You want to figure out who it is, just use Google. You would site : the domain of the company, type in like CIO or president or whatnot, and they're more than likely their email address and who they are is going to pop up. If they don't show up, which some high executives are like that, because they like I said before, they don't have their accounts set up very well with their business cards. You can find colleagues, people on there, and you would slowly network your way up. So once you got your person in mind, the next thing you need to do is try to find out, where are they in social media? And there are search tools in all of these to look for people by their name. Are they in LinkedIn? Are they in Twitter? Are they in Facebook? And then you would go and you would look for those. And I will show you examples of this in a bit on how to do that. Next, we request to connect. And how we do that is very, very, very simple. The way I would do it is, the way I always do that is, "Hi, Joanne. I see that we have X and Y in common. I'd love to connect. I'm always interested in meeting industry leaders. Keep up the good work. All the best, Pat." And that's how we do it. What you're doing is, you're saying is, it makes sense for us to connect. You mentioned something you have in common. Hey, Joanne, we have dogs and cats in common. I'd love to connect with people who are industry experts in the pet industry, right? Or a common geography, a common set of skills. Maybe you went to the same university or together, or maybe you live in the same town. Maybe you have the same hobbies. It really doesn't matter. But you just want to come across to that person that it makes sense for us to connect. I'm not pitching them anything here, by the way. I'm not telling them I got the best thing since sliced bread. Nope, 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 nope. I'm just connecting. It makes sense for us to connect. Once they do, congratulations, thumbs up to you. And you will probably find, 3/4 of the people are going to connect with you if you do this. I'm not talking about, like, if you go on LinkedIn, they have a little canned thing that's in there and people will use it. Don't do that. You want to use this little, you want to write a little paragraph, just a few sentences like that to say that it makes sense for us to connect because of a couple of things that we have in common. Once connected here, I want to do something that Gary Vaynerchuk does a great. He does a great job of kind of explaining this in his book, Jab, 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 Right Hook, where he says that the person that gives value first has the leverage. And that's what I'm recommending for you to do here, is once you connect with them, you want to give them something free, something that's going to make their day a better day, grow their skills, make it easier for them to do business, something they're going to say, hey, this is pretty decent. This is pretty generous of them to give this to me. And the way I would do that is something as simple like this, like say, hey, Joanne, I was thinking about you today, and I thought you might find this article, right? There's a link there, of interest. It talks about how a company in your industry used an innovation to grow revenue. Check it out. Thanks, Pat. Just that simple. Just that simple. And these articles could be things about from Forbes or Wall Street Journal. And it's something that you believe has value within their niche. Once you kind of get some of these up, you can actually use an email tool like Aweber or MailChimp or Constant Contact or Entreport or ActiveCampaign, one of these kinds of systems, and queue up these messages over time, a bunch of these. That way you can kind of remember to follow up with them. And this is called an autoresponder series. And each one of them says something like, I was thinking of you this morning. I was reading this the other day. I thought this might add value. And I'm not asking them for diddly squat. I'm just giving. This keeps prospects warm, puts everything on autopilot. You may want to, though, segment this, though. For example, if you're in your company, if you sell multiple things, multiple products or services, or you have a different niche that you work on, you may want to have different series for different people. Like if you got dog people that you're selling to, you don't want to send them cat articles. Dogs and cats don't match. If you got cat people, you want to make sure that the doggy daycare articles do not go to them. Nope. You want those. You want that scratchy furniture articles to go to them. This is a great way of kind of like connecting with people, warming them up, and having them slowly appreciate you and build trust in you. Once we've done this, now it's time to request a chat. Hey, Joanne, I love connecting with industry experts and would really like to learn more about what you and your company do. Have you a moment this week for a quick 10-minute chat? Best wishes, Pat. This is pretty straightforward, isn't it? Joanne and I have been exchanging stuff. This might take us a week or so for us to slowly happen. Now I'm asking for a 10-minute chat. I'm not asking to give her a presentation. I'm not asking for a meeting. I'm just saying, let's get on the phone and see if we have anything in common. We have stuff in common. We know that. That's why we connected. But let's see if we can I would go a little deeper into this. She comes back. She says, sure. Then the easiest thing to do is say, hey, how about Thursday at 2 or Friday at 10 o'clock? Have her kind of give her two places so she doesn't think too hard and she'll pick one. If she doesn't like any of those, if her calendar's full, that's okay. You're advancing the sale. You're getting her to slowly say, yeah, I would like to meet with Pat here with me, let's say. And we'll find another time that works. Just this simple. I would also like to consider the opportunity. Let's say, have you ever had this happen to you where people out of the blue connect with you? This is another way that people can connect with you. And I was giving the talk the other day, and I asked this. I goes, anybody ever had people out of the blue connect with you? And one guy put his hand up, and I go, so what do you do? And he goes, yeah, I don't connect with them. Oh, really? Yeah, no. I go, well, what if they're a customer and they want to buy something? I don't know. Well, they might be some salesperson, trying to sell me something. I'm like, dude, you're a salesperson. Have some empathy for this poor person. What's it going to hurt for you to connect with them? The best way to do it is to kind of figure out who and what they are. Is that I always answer this way when someone connects with me out of the blue. And I do this on any of the mediums, whether it be on Twitter or Twitter, not so much because a lot of people can follow me. But on Facebook, I certainly do. I just did it this morning, and on LinkedIn. And I would say something like this. Hey, Joanne, thanks for taking a moment to reach out and connect. I really appreciate it. What about my profile did you find of interest? Best wishes, Pat. This really, really works. I'm amazed at what people say. They'll come back and say, oh, I listen. For me, they come back and they say, hey, I was listening to your podcast. Hey, that's great. What do you like about it? How can I do a better job? I would respond. Or they might come back and say, I was reviewing your profile and I see that you're a sales consultant and I was interested in improving my sales skills. Great. Tell me more about you. Or they might be something like this. You and I actually met. We did? Yeah, it was a year ago. Do you remember at the ... I'm like, oh, this is a great way of like having real, authentic conversations. Remember, this is what we talked about at the very beginning, is that that's what people want. People want connections with real people. And what am I doing here? I'm just being real, just as if we were at a networking event, shaking hands over a cup of coffee, right? This is no different from that at all. Once you get them on the phone, then it's your opportunity to kind of sort out who's a qualified prospect and not. They may be just somebody who you could just partner with. They may not actually be a client. And the way you do that is by asking them questions and to find out if you're a match or not. And I have a bunch of ways of doing that. We don't have time to go into that today, maybe at another time. But that's what you do. That's what happens when you get on the telephone. The hard part is to get them on the phone, because that's what Malcolm Gladwell calls the tipping point. This is what he says, quote, there's a simple way to package information that under the right circumstances can make it irresistible. All you have to do is to find it. That's what we've done here. We've made ourselves irresistible. We've not been pushy. We've been normal and human and generous and saying, I just want to meet people who got things of interest that I do. I'd like to give you some stuff. Maybe if you got a moment, we could sit down and chat for 10 minutes. Let's do it on the phone. Maybe we can do it over at the Starbucks and have a cup of coffee. People, you may not be a good match for them, but people are they're going to find you irresistible and curious of what you're about, and they're going to want to meet you. None of this, and we haven't talked much about this, none of this idea of like picking up the phone and calling people out of the blue and saying, we provide these kinds of services that provide these kinds of benefits. That we're not doing that at all here. We're making it normal and using the power of social media, things that we couldn't have done 10, 15 years ago. The only way you could have done this was in person. We're making it so that we can easily connect and build relationships with people. I mentioned before, and I promised that we would talk about, like, here's like the search. If you type in the search, this is Facebook here. You type in the search up there for looking for Joe Blow, or you could also search for all kinds of things like their email address or whatnot. If you know that, they will pop up, and then you can connect with them and you can send them a message. And lots of times I will send them the message just like I did here before and ask them, hi, I see we have cats and dogs in common. I'd love to connect. I'm always interested in meeting pet industry leaders. Keep up the good work. All the best. And I have done this, connected with people that way. This is the same thing that I would maybe do in LinkedIn. This is exactly the same, cut and paste this right in here. Now, in LinkedIn, you have to explain how you know these people. I always choose that we've done business together. I always make that. And now I have I've got thousands of people in my LinkedIn Connect, and it's a little easier for me to connect with some people not asking for emails and whatnot. But this is how I do that. I just tell people that's what I know. So that we've done business together, and I've never had people say, no way, no way, no way, no way. Here we are on Twitter. Very same idea. Hey, now because of Twitter, because of a limitation in the number of characters, I would say something more abbreviated like, we've cats and dogs in common, love to connect, interested in meeting pet industry leaders, keep up good work. Tweet. And that will show right up for them. And the next thing you know, you'll be getting yourself into direct messaging them. And here you can see I have one here. I have you a moment this week for a quick 10-minute chat, and you can start direct messaging them back and forth. And that's a very, very powerful way of starting up a conversation with Twitter. And before you know it, you're sharing your phone numbers and you're meeting on the phone. And this is the steps. Build a campaign. First, you set up your profile, find a target prospect, find out what social media they're on, request to connect, give them some free value, ask for a chat, and then talk to them on the phone. That's the process. And you should be doing this all day long, slowly connecting with people, spend a little bit of time every day on this, and you'll be making phone calls every day. So for those of you out there who are sales managers, let's think of this in terms of the sales funnel, right? We got lots of potential leads coming in here, people that we're requesting to connect with, and so only some of them we're actually going to chat with on the phone. Those are qualified opportunities, and those are the ones that we really want to measure. So this connect chat ratio, that's what you're looking for in trying to decide whether or not you're doing a good job as a seller, or if your folks as sellers or your folks are good at that. Of course, it begs the question, happens next. You don't have the client yet. All you've got is a phone call. So what are we going to do with it? And we kind of alluded to this, like what's the right mindset that you would have when you get on this phone call? There's a way of doing this. And again, who's my ideal client? People have a tendency to chase whoever will listen to them. Whether or not they're qualified or not. A lot of people don't really understand that. Like, consider the value, the whole idea of this value proposition. And I did a blog post on this the other, it was about 2-3 months ago. This whole idea that we serve customers by providing products and services that provide these 3 benefits. How many of you out there, answer this question here, how many out here really truly understand really what your value proposition? I mean something as concise and precise as this, like, we serve pet owners with doggy daycare services, and we do it so that in a fun, safe, healthy, and nutritious environment. Can you say that about your business? That we serve these kinds of people by providing this kind of product or services, and we do this because of these 3 or 4 benefits. Can you do that? Can you do that? I don't know if you're in the chat thing here, you can answer yes or no in that. That's really important, because that's the foundation of great sales, is knowing that. What do I say on the phone? That's the next thing that people come to. What will I do once I get them on the phone? A lot of people get tongue-tied. And how do I sort out who's a qualified prospect and not? And once I sort out who's a qualified prospect, how do I powerfully communicate with them in emails and voicemails? Because that's kind of the medium of today, right? And next, once I do a presentation that persuades, does it persuade them? Or are they not paying attention at all? Are they like nodding off? And lastly, this is the second most hardest part of the sale. The first part was getting the appointment, that first phone call, right? The second one is asking them for the business. Like, how often I had people tell me, like, well, they said they liked it. They nodded their head up and down. They really appreciated that I visited. I told them, hey, you like how this? Yeah, this is great. And they're just kind of waiting for them to say, I'll buy it, because people just don't do. How do you do that? And then how do you keep organized and remember to follow up? Because if you're working an awful lot of people all at once, and only a small portion of them, right? This whole sales funnel thing, only a small portion of them is ever going to really be able to buy. That's what we want to do, is keep ourselves on focus so that we remember to do that. So I've got 3 questions I want to ask you. The first one is, from what you've seen so far here today, from this presentation on how to connect with people, how to warm them up using social media so that you don't have to cold call them. Do you think that what you've learned today, like right now, will improve your selling tomorrow? And like tomorrow, I mean like tomorrow's Thursday, right? If what you're doing right now, from what you've learned here, do you think you can immediately go and apply this tomorrow? And if you can answer yes or no in here, I would really appreciate that. Next, if you look at this kind of like step-by-step campaign that I gave you here on how to do this, that if I was to give you a series, if you had a series of these step-by-step processes with checklists and worksheets and videos and exercises, do you think that would grow your business? Just like this, step by step, click, 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 click. The answer to that, yes or no, I would appreciate that. Because that's what I want to chat about is this whole idea of the selling with confidence system, where you be yourself, add value, and make sales. And what I want to do today is to offer people here in the Sales Babble community the opportunity for a group coaching course. I want to kick that off this year. It's for 2015, 2016. It's going to be taught all online, so that people anywhere in the world can connect. It'll be done weekly for 8 weeks. Exercises, handouts, worksheets, videos, a lot of downloadable stuff, plus live practice, live role play. We're going to be laughing. We're going to be telling some more bad jokes. But most importantly, the end result of this is to earn new clients. And the things that we're going to cover, like the 8 basic topics we're going to cover here over these 8 weeks, is like how to become a master seller. Like, there are 4 basic characteristics for master sellers, and I call it HEAT. That they need to be helpful. They need to have emotionally intelligent. That's the E. They need to be astute, and then T, they need to be tenacious. That if you have those 4 kinds of things, and probably you have most of them, you can be successful in sales. And we explain how to do that in the 6 simple stages of the sale, from the time that you first try to figure out who they are until they finally make the sale. And then how to address fear. And the way that comes is by building confidence. The next thing we talk about is how to sell to your ideal client. We talk about things like how to find people who ache for your business, how to beat the competition, how to find people who deeply desire what you have, and then how to define your value proposition. Next, we talk about how to get an appointment. Some of the stuff that we talked about here already today. And then we also talk about what to do on that phone call. There's 6 steps to that, like how to listen, what kinds of questions to ask, what to do when they don't answer them, and how often is too often to follow up, or not enough. Those are all things that we talk about in there. We also talk about how to sort out and qualify prospects. I have these things called the SORT questions. SORT is actually an acronym for story questions, obstacle questions, ramification questions. Like what are the obstacles that stops you from having your happily ever after? And because of these obstacles, how does that negatively affect your business? And then what if I was to take those obstacles and make those all disappear? How would that transform your business? What we're doing is using pain and desire. We're leveraging that in order to get people to listen and to understand what's going on. Next. how to prospect with confidence, how to use persuasive writing, how to write great emails, how to leave great voicemails, how to use cascading voicemails, which are in many regards are kind of like little radio commercials that you're leaving on their phone, because people listen to their voicemails. They may delete emails and whatnot, but they do listen to their voicemails. And then how to give a presentation that persuades by using what I call the present process, another acronym. It walks you through being the ability to like give a talk that really keeps people on the edge, how to manage a sales meeting, how to read the different personality types that might be in a meeting that you have with them, and how to use the story method. Again, this is another acronym on how to tell stories that people can really identify and grasp with, because those matter immensely. And if you do all this right, you're actually starting to close. We've actually been slowly, if you do this right, closing them from the very minute you start meeting them. And then lastly, how to ask for the sale, how to understand how to have that right closing mindset, and to use something what I call the sum it all up close, so that you can ask people from what you've seen today, does this make sense? Do you think you'd like to buy? And there's special situations for closing, but also how to seal the deal, how to do pricing, how to figure out what's a reasonable value that you have, and get them to agree with that, and to seal the deal. And the best way of doing that is, you've really made progress and success as customers if they start referring you to other people who are clients. And then lastly, the 8th is how to get organized and to build a money-making sales process. Sales really is a process. It's got 6 basic steps. How do you manage all the people that are in there? Everybody's on a different step within that process. How do you remember to follow up? How often to follow up? And how to leverage. And we also talk about how to leverage a free CRM. And there's a couple that I want to talk about. I just bumped into another one today. We may bring that one up too. So that you can use these free tools to keep yourself organized. Now, this isn't just something that I invented out of the blue. You'd be the first one to ever see this. We've had a number of people run through the system, like Stephen Hawk of Hawk Design said, quote, "Before meeting Pat, I was mediocre in sales. He taught me how to saddle up and put sales into action. Since working with him, I have greater confidence, and I have doubled my clients." Picture that, folks. Picture doubling your clients. If you go on LinkedIn, you can find these quotes on there. These are the real deal. Rich Bauer from RB and Associates. They actually do a startup for geology services, map services. It's a computer company, software company. Since taking the course, said Rich, I'm confident on what to say. I was unsure when selling. Now I have the words. When I first met those folks, they were a bunch of engineer types, didn't know how to work a trade show, didn't know what exactly to say, how to get people to talk. Those are all things that they've learned out of this course. I've spent a lot of time with them. Mano Behera, one of my clients, one of my students here, says, I had 0 sales when I started. Selling with confidence helped me learn sales step by step. I immediately earned my first client and developed a pipeline that has been growing and converting new customers. And that is really true. He has really taken off like great this year. And it's been very gratifying to have these people as these great students. So that you kind of know what this stuff is kind of worth and where it comes from. Is like, if you were to hire me, I charge between $200-300 an hour. We're talking 8 hours of classes here at $200 a pop. Let's say we'll take the low end. That's $1,600 value if you were to work with me one-on-one. I have a self-paced course that people have been buying this year for $497. You don't get to touch me, deal with me personally, but you watch all of my videos, and you can work at your own pace. That's $497 a year. But for this offer for today, because this is the end of the year, a Happy New Year special for 2016. I'm only looking for $297 per student for this 8-week live course. Let me share a little bit about what that's about. That and there's no risk here, by the way, a 30-day money back guarantee for any reason, any situation. It doesn't matter to me. If you're not happy, I'm not happy. I only want happy clients. You also get with the course lifetime access to the Selling with Confidence online course. So you can watch that at your leisure whenever you want. And you get a private Facebook group where you can ask any kind of question for me and work with other students who are in the group and interact with them. Another very, very, very powerful thing. This course is only for, let me chat about who this is a good match for. If you're the kind of person who likes to learn, you're a good match. If you're someone who wants to move your selling skills to a higher level, you're a good match. If you want to grow your business like now, not next year, not next month, but like now, you're a great match. And if you understand that you're going to recoup this cost that we're talking about, this $297, by growing a new client, you're a good match. It's not for people who just don't get ROI. People who return on investment, who says, I just can't see how spending money is going to make me money. It's people, or for people who don't even invest time in themselves, people who don't like to take action. They just like to gather more data and think about it and think about it and think about it. It's not a good match for them. Also not a good match for people like this. And maybe you're thinking this way. I know what to do. I just need to do it. I bump into that. I bump into those kinds of people every so often. But are you sure you really know what to do? Because why aren't you doing it? If you want to keep on doing what you've always been doing, you're not going to see any different. You're not going to see any different outcomes. This is for people who realize that I need a different way of approaching that. And that's what we're going to be doing in this course. Also for people here who are kind of like, who want what they call the McDonald's experience, right? They want people just to step up to the counter, choose a number 5, and hand you the money. You make change. And you give them, it says your email, but in this case, actually, we'd actually give them the food here. You know, a lot of people put a lot of hope and trust in the marketing. That's why marketing services make a lot of money, hoping that people are just going to show up at their door, and they're just going to buy without working too hard. But that's not really, that's actually a very long and drawn out way of doing things. Sales is different than marketing in that it's an instant interaction. You're immediately shaking hands with people, taking people on the phone and chatting with them. It's very affordable too. It doesn't require a lot of fancy schmancy equipment. All you really need is a telephone and a computer. It gives you instant feedback because you're immediately getting you're having direct conversations with people and seeing if what you have is a good match for them or not, so you can better understand your products and services. And more interestingly, it's actually the foundation of marketing, that until you've sold a fair amount of stuff, it's hard to write great marketing content until you really, really, truly understand your ideal client. So here's my third and final, my third question here. Do you think that this course, that if I had a course like this, that's fast and simple like this, that it could provide immediate results for you in your business? So if you answer yes to that, if you think that's a possibility, that you see the value, then you have a decision. Which button am I going to press here? Am I going to press the up button or the down button? Ask yourself this: how many clients do you think would equal the value of this course? I did a study the other day. It was about 2 weeks ago. Maybe some of you saw that. And it asked the question of, like, how many clients do you think you would earn? Is something like this. And I had people tell me, oh, 1. Or I had one person say, oh, half a client. I could probably, or another one said it would take me 10 clients. So it depends on the business. But what in your mind is, how many new clients would you want, would it take before you felt like this is a good deal? Because that's what I'm looking for. People who can see this is a good deal, that you give me something and I give you something back. It's like a match. It's a matchmaking. I have one other thing that I want to offer here. And this is only for people who are on the webinar and really want to take action right now. The bonus is, and this expires at the end of this webinar, that if you take action right now and enroll in the Selling with Confidence group coach, that you will get a one-on-one private consultation from me, and we can talk about anything you want on any topic. It could be about you. It could be about your business. And the reason I'm doing this is because I really appreciate people who take action now. And I actually look forward to those phone calls because I believe that I can get you moving very, 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 very fast. And you can start earning that next ideal client. You can be on the phone within a week with prospective clients and having these rich kinds of conversations. 30-minute consultation, any topic, one-on-one, focus solely on you and your business. That's a bonus. And it expires at the end of this webinar. So you have to make a decision now about this. And the way you would do that, I haven't chatted much about this here, that if you scroll down and you see where it says Selling with Confidence on there, and if you click on that little button there, if you click right on there, that will take you to the page, which is at www.salesbabble.com/enroll now, which may be easier for those of you on mobile. Enroll now. And that will take you right to the enrollment page. Click on there, enter your information, and you will automatically get an email. It'll automatically register you in the system. It'll put you on the email list. It goes to PayPal, which is very, very, very secure. I've never had any real issues with these people. They are like Fort Knox when it comes to security on your credit cards and whatnot. And that's how that works. Again, this is no risk, 30-day money back guarantee for any reason, for any situation at all. Again, if this isn't a good match for you, that's okay. I'd be more than happy to I only want happy clients. So again, this is a decision time. Every so often, you got to make a tough decision here, and I really want you to know that this isn't a tough decision. This is a no-brainer, and that you're not an all-talk person, but you're a do person. Think about these are the things that I hear, and why this class even exists. Is the common frustrations that I bump into it are things like, people like me, Pat. They like what I have, but they just don't buy. How do I deal with that? I can help them. Another one is my competition sucking away my business. Well, that's got to be frustrating, but there's ways that you can get around that. Another is that I'm reluctant to take action. I know I should be doing more. I know I should be doing extra. I know, but I just don't do that. That requires some coaching, and that requires for you to be able to get over your fear. Because if you know what to say and when to say it and how to do it and all that, that's where confidence comes. Picture this. How many times have you had to drive someplace far? Maybe you have a class that you're taking, a 3-day conference, and you got to drive far away to it. That first day that you go there, you're very hectic. You may leave really early. You're not really sure where you're going. You got the GPS out. Yeah, eventually you get there. Thank goodness. Then you drive home that night. Next morning, you feel much more relaxed. You know where you're going, what you're doing, and you get there with no problem. The third day you go, you're not even thinking about it. You're drinking a cup of coffee and you're fiddling with the radio, and you're like, the same thing is true here in sales. that the more you understand it, what it is and what to do and how to do it, that's where confidence, that's how you sell with confidence. Or maybe the last thing is, maybe you're tired of worrying about money, that you don't really know where the next month's income's coming, and it's just nagging on you, and your family's nagging on you. These are all kinds of common frustrations that I hear from people, and they are concerned with. These are the kinds of things that we're trying to address. Here's another one too. Is I hear that. I think they like what I have, but my deals are not closing. And it could very well be because you're probably talking too much. You're probably not doing a good job of listening. You're probably not asking qualifying questions to see whether or not they're even a good match. And every time you get done meeting with them, you're probably not advancing the sale. You're not asking for the sale. You haven't kind of laid all that groundwork for them to come to that kind of decision. This is an opportunity for you to make a decision and to choose wisely. The way you do this is through salesbabblehere.com. If you go to www.salesbabbel.com/enroll now, and we get this one bonus here. This is the first time that this is the one time that you have to do this, because otherwise it goes away by the end of the meeting. And you do it by clicking on that little Selling with Confidence button at the very bottom here, and that'll take you to that page at www.salesbabbel.com/enroll now. And then that takes you to the checkout. Take action for today. Something we're missing here that I really want to make sure that we talk about is, yeah, we did talk about all that. We did indeed. So here are 7 kind of questions that I commonly get asked about, is that in sales. And if you have any other questions, you're more than happy to log in over here on the chat wing over to the right if you're on the PC machine, and I can I can answer that. Is like some common questions I get asked a lot about sales is that I'd like to get better at sales, but I think sales is only for extroverts, right? No, that's not true. Not at all. Actually, people who are overly extroverty are terrible listeners. If you're extreme introvert, that's not good either. Most great sellers are somewhere in the middle, and that's where probably all of you are at. That's certainly where I'm at. What really makes for great selling is the ability to have heat, as I mentioned before. The idea, the mindset of I'm here to help you. I'm here, and I'm empathetic to the issues that you have, and that I'm smart enough to understand that what you're looking for may not be exactly what you need, but I can connect the dots in the way. That's that astuteness thing. And I'm good at following up. I'm tenacious. That's what really makes for great sales. Another common question I get is, do I got to memorize a bunch of scripts? No, not really. No, because what I teach in Selling with Confidence is that if you understand the fundamental questions to ask people about what their hopes and desires are, their story, where they came from, where they're at right now, where they want to be in the future, they're happily ever after, that if you kind of understand that, it's very easy for you to ask them questions about, what are the obstacles that's stopping them? Because of these obstacles, what's the negative ramifications on their business because of that? So you really can get a feel for what's going on in there, and then ask them questions like, look, how would it transform your business if we were to make those obstacles go away? Because that's what your product or service does, right? That's your value proposition, how that stuff goes away. And then the other thing is how long does it take to take something like this? Well, this course is 8 weeks, but because I have all this material in place ahead of time, you can move even faster on that. And some people have done that. I've had people go whip through the course pretty quick, actually, with success. So you can go factors. And do you get to practice with Pat? You most certainly do. That's the whole part of it, that it's an interactive class where everybody can kind of work together. And then another question I kind of get is, well, what if I don't like it? and again, 30-day money back guarantee. No, any reason. You don't have to justify it at all to me at all. So another kind of question I get is something along the lines like, these are the myths that people have about sales, and all of this stuff is really kind of phony baloney. That successful salespeople are pushy. No, that's not true. Not in 2015. As we talked about at the very beginning of it, what people are looking for is an authentic connection with a company, with a brand loyalty is really important, but they want a relationship with that company. They have lots to choose from. You can go on the internet and you can see just tons and tons of data, but it's almost too much information for buyers to make a wise decision. If you're a savvy seller and you're patient and you ask questions and let them ask you lots of questions, you do not tell them, but let them ask you, they're going to trust you. They're going to trust that you're looking out for them. That really matters. Another kind of myth thing we hear is that only people with big egos can succeed in sales. Well, that's not true either. People who are really helpful in sales are people who have the attitude, I'm here to help you and to add value to your business. Those are the two things that really, really matter. That's what matters to me. That if I can't help you, if you don't think I can help you, that you're looking for something else right now, you have other things that you're concerned about, I totally get that. I want to help people who really want to increase their sales skills. I'm here for helping people who want to get new clients right now, and they don't want to waste any time on that they want to make a difference right now. These are, again, one of the reasons that I'm promoting this right now is because 2016 is just around the corner. I really want you to get yourself set up for that. Another thing is we come to here is they have to make hundreds of calls a week to get customers. Baloney. Baloney, baloney, baloney. Now, I remember I once hired a lady who actually made 300 calls a day. She used to work for me, and I could see her pounding through those phones. She did that for us for a while, for a couple of days. And I'm like, she wasn't building relationships with people at all. And I said, you have to stop doing that. And I stopped her from doing that. And another kind of myth you hear is that, well, I have to get 100 no's before I get a yes. No, that's not true. Now, if you warm people up with social media, like what we spoke about earlier here, by using the 7 steps that I mentioned, now people are going to want to meet with you. And this whole idea that buyers hate salespeople, that's baloney. Think about salespeople. It's easy to think about salespeople you don't like, but think about salespeople that you do love. Who was the person that really made a difference? Like when you purchased a car, you bought a house, or maybe you're at some store and you purchased something that you really love, and the salesperson did an excellent job. I remember this guy. There was this one sales guy I met named Woody, and he sold bicycles, custom built bicycles. I have a Rourke bicycle, and he just did the best job explaining that, and he just made me get so excited about that he was such an impression for me that he was one of the reasons I decided to go into sales. And I realized that's something I could do. Another thing is people say it's a very hard business. Well, it can be if you don't like it, but if you're all about helping people, it can be very, very rewarding. And then last myth that you commonly hear is that the only way you could close a sale is to twist people's arms. That's not the case at all. No. If people truly believe and can see the value that you're providing, that's a good thing. If they see that value, they will not be more than happy to purchase stuff. Again, it's a group coaching course. It's going to start this year. It's a live class, 8 weeks, taught online, exercises, handouts, worksheets, videos, live practice and role play with people, group coaching, laughs and jokes, I promise. I had a joke here. I misplaced it. I was going to tell another one. The most important result is you want to earn new clients. That's the real goal here. Again, where we're going to talk about how to become a master seller using the 4 heat characteristics. The class will talk about how to figure out who your ideal client is, to build your value proposition. Only find people who ache and deeply desire for what you have, and you're only selling to those. How to call with confidence on the telephone. You don't need to be afraid of the telephone. How to sort out people, who's a qualified prospect and who's not a qualified prospect. We talk about that. How to write persuasive emails and leave pervasive voicemails, and how to give presentations that persuade, that slowly, as you give the presentations, you're slowly closing on them. And the great way of doing that is by telling stories. And I've told a bunch of stories here. How to ask for sales, how to ask people to purchase it, how to use the sum it all up close, and how to price things and to seal the deal in a way that you get referrals. And lastly, how to keep yourself organized and to build a money-making sales process. Somebody asked me here, do I have an outline of the 8-week course? I certainly do. If you go to I'll put it up here. If you go to www.salesbabble.com/selling with confidence, with dashes in between, selling dash with dash confidence. That is the big sales page. You can go to there, and it goes into all the kind of gory details. Most of them I've explained here, but you can read them yourself. Selling dash with dash confidence. Selling dash with dash. In fact, I'll type that. I'm going to type that in over here. 1 second. www. And I placed that in the link, and you can see that there. Again, $1,600 value. I've been charging for the self-paced class $500. Today it's only $297. I calculated that out the other day. I was looking for 8 weeks. That's $37 a week. $37 to learn sales and to completely reinvent your business. It is not very expensive, $37. If you can't afford that, if you can't see the value of that, you're probably just not in the market for that. I don't mean to beat people up who aren't, but if you got onto this webinar thinking, I really want to improve my sales, here is a good way of doing that. We only talked a little bitty piece here today about getting the appointment, not all the other stuff that you need to do in the sale. And I got handouts and worksheets and checklists and videos and audios. I'm adding to this thing all the time as it updates. I've added stuff on like how to do networking in person. I've added videos on like how to actually walk through LinkedIn doing this process. Click here, click here, click here. There's some nuances that we didn't speak about. Those are all things that are that are in there. Again, it's a lifetime access, because as I add videos to those, you have access to those. You can log in anytime. The system's all on salesbabble.com. It's nowhere else. And there's a private Facebook group where you can connect with other people and chit chat with them about sales and ask me any kind of question. I'm on there all the time. Again, the way you do this is by you clicking on that Selling with Confidence icon that is on the page, on the webinar portal page that you're on right now. You can click on there, and it's only $297, and there is the bonus one-on-one private consultation. Good for this webinar only. It expires at the end of this call. A 30-minute consultation, any topic, anything you want to talk about. It could be about you. It could be about your business. It could be about somebody else in your life. It could be about things other than sales, maybe business. I know an awful lot about business. I know a lot about marketing too, because this basically is marketing stuff here. Whatever you want to talk about, we can. I'd be more than happy to work with you on that and to give you some great advice that you can take action on right now, because this is why I'm doing this. I appreciate people who take action. I appreciate people who just don't sit on the sidelines and complain. Far too many people in the world, all they really want to do is complain. That's the only thing they really want in life, is to live on autopilot. And then that's not who I'm looking for here in this class. And if you scroll down the bottom there, you will see Selling with Confidence. Click on that button. And that will take you to the www.salesbabble.com/enroll now page. Or if you want to see the full write-up, you go to salesbabble.com/selling with confidence. And there's dashes in between selling with confidence, selling dash with dash confidence. Bonus for today, I already said that. Yeah, and this is the page that it goes to. This is the page that it goes to, and you can see it uses a PayPal. And there's some information you've got to fill in there. What's powerful about this system, it automatically kind of builds your account on the Sales Babble website, so you can log in, automatically puts you on the email list, so you can get all the updates and emails. Automatically goes to PayPal, and it securely takes your payment. And again, no risk, 30-day money back guarantee for any reason, any situation. You can exit. You can exit at so you don't have a whole lot at risk here at all. Only want happy clients. Only want happy clients. And I think this is redundant here. If there are any questions, I've done these webinars before, and I've had people ask me questions that I haven't really covered here, and I'm not really sure what they would be that people don't, that people haven't really thought about. Maybe you, like I had a guy said, I want to train all my salespeople. How do I do that? And I explained to them, and we were able to figure that out on the phone, how to make payment for that. Actually, the system can do that right now. If you want to do that, you're more than welcome to give me a ring on my phone. I have my cell phone right in the I have my cell phone right in here in the in my hand. Here, I'll show it to you in a second. There it is. Da, 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 da. And that would really be I'd be more than happy to answer any questions that you have. 630-768-3134. Any other further questions? You can also text me too at 630-768-3134. I am easy to get a hold of. If there is anything else that you would like to ask me on here, there is a 21-second delay on this. It's almost like the NFL. Not that I've said any bad words that need to be beeped, but I will wait here for a little bit to see if there's any other final questions. If there's anything else I can answer, just say what that is. Again, if you want to give me a ring, it's 630-768-3134 right here in Chicago. I don't see any more questions popping up here, which is okay. That's great. Hey, folks, I really appreciate everybody listening in. Thank you. Thank you, and have a great day. Have a great week. Have a great holiday season. We'll see y'all. Bye-bye. Forgot to do that. Oh, let's do this one last thing here. And there it goes. I love the music, huh? This is the Sales Babble Podcast. This was the Sales Babble Podcast. Folks, thanks a lot. Have a great day.